If you have never met Pastor Barry Randolph or been to the Church of Messiah in the city of Detroit, if you want to lift your heart and lift your faith in humanity, visit Church of Messiah, because they are doing so many amazing things for so many people, and they do it on a shoestring budget. Pastor Barry, thank you for being with us. It's always great to speak with you. I wish I could see you, or I could see you, but you can't see me. That's how the Zoom thing works here on Civic Center TV. But Pastor Barry, for those that aren't familiar with Church of Messiah, bring us up to speed. What do you guys have going on there?
Wow. So first,
well, you really need a couple hours for that, but give us the condensed version.
Thank you for having me on the show. And anytime you ask me anything, Ronnie, I'm coming on. And I think this is a great opportunity to be able to tell you the good things that's going on in Detroit. So really quick rundown of Church of the Messiah. We are a community-based church, and we believe in making the Word of God tangible. So we have a mixed race congregation that is Black, white, Latino, and Asian. Our congregation is 60% Black male under the age of 30. And I'd say 70% of the congregation is under the age of 40. So we have a lot of young people here. But here we believe in making the Word of God tangible. So we have 213 units of affordable housing that was built by the church through Church of the Messiah Housing Corporation, which is a separate 501c3 from the church. We have our own employment office where we can find anybody a job, primarily those who were formerly incarcerated. We are the internet provider for our community and neighborhood. So you have Comcast, AT&T, and Church of the Messiah. And we give our internet to people who cannot afford the internet. We also have a tea beverage company, which is in 94 stores across the state, including all the Whole Foods. In the state of Michigan, Zingerman Bakehouses, Avalon Bakery. You can even now find it in local gas stations. So the tea beverage company is doing very well. We have a candle company, bow tie company, video production company. We have a clothing line. And we just do a slew of things to help people to change their life. So when we bring you the good news, we give you the resources that can help you change your life. The other thing that we're doing that is major at Church of the Messiah is what we call the Master's Plan. The Master being God, and the plan is to build the kingdom of God on earth, duplicating the work of Church of the Messiah. We're now working with 103 churches in Detroit. And then we have chapters that we're working with in Flint, Battle Creek, and Highland Park. But we're also working in Cincinnati, Toledo, and Cleveland. And then we're working in Los Angeles, in San Francisco, Uganda, in Africa, and Malawi, and Latvia, and Europe. So we've been busy.
You have definitely been busy. A global operation there. Pastor Barry, your church is all about community. How has it been going for you and the members of your congregation and so many of the people right there in the neighborhood during this pandemic? Are you having services inside at all?
No. So we just had our most frigid service yesterday out in the parking lot. That was also the shortest service. I think we did it in about 45 minutes, in churches ordinarily an hour. So we won't be opening the doors up for the actual service because we have hundreds of members. And we cannot safely bring in those many people. And even with our outdoor service, we changed the time from 12 to 10 o'clock, knowing everybody wouldn't come at 10, just so we wouldn't get extremely large groups of people, even outdoors. We have to be cautious. So we've been doing a lot of Zoom and video chats.
So how was that look going into the winter months?
God only knows. So far is going pretty well because we have a lot of people who are into technology. So that's going really, really good. But we are working with a lot of different people towards getting them into learning the internet. So that's most of our seniors in the church and in the community and neighborhood so that they can follow along with the services.
Pastor Barry Randolph with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. He is with the Church of the Messiah in the Detroit area. And Pastor, many people probably don't know this either. You actually left the business world to become a pastor And since then, you're more than a pastor. You're a champion of people, but you are doing it on a shoestring budget. You list everything that you're doing there at the church, but a lot of that is blossom, it's coming to life out of the basement of the church and the programs that you're running out of the church. How are you doing all of that? Are you still able to keep the lights on? What is that like? Because the church is not a new church.
No, the building is 119 years old. So it's in a very old building that is not in the best of shape, but we do the best that we possibly know how. Most of the people here are volunteers in order to help change the lives of people, including me as the pastor of the church. I don't get paid. I understood that going in, that we needed to get the work done, and that was the most important thing. So a lot of people knew that we were doing this basically as volunteers, and it's brought in other people, but it did bring a lot of resources. So foundations have come in and they have helped, and our businesses are doing pretty good. So that helps to keep the lights on and things going. So we're moving right along. And because we've always been a community church, it doesn't bother us so much of not being able to do a lot of stuff in the building, because we've been doing a lot of stuff in the community and neighborhood anyway. So we still get to do our ministry even though COVID is around. And it just magnified what it is that we're supposed to be doing in a community and neighborhood. So the work continues.
Pastor Barry Randolph with us. He is the pastor at the Church of the Messiah, joining us today on the Oakland County Megacast. And Pastor, you mentioned earlier on one of the programs that the church is currently running is helping to get people in the community that either have not used technology and used the internet as much as others up to speed on how to use the internet and how to use those functions, seniors especially, during the time that we're in right now, where so much of what we are doing to communicate with others has to be virtual. How are you able to provide those services and those teaching opportunities and do so safely so that these people can communicate with their loved ones and their friends and with their community in a safe manner during the pandemic?
That's a great question. So a couple ways we do that. It helps to have a young congregation that's full of young people, because it's almost like they were born knowing how to do technology. So because we have a large group of young people who know how to use technology, and we have our own video production company, and we're the internet provider for Island View, that's the area where Church of the Messiah is, we have the largest concentration of seniors in Detroit. They live in 48207, 48214 on the east side of Detroit. So our young people, because they provide the internet, they have been providing the internet. The church has been providing a lot of our seniors with computers. And a lot of our young people have been literally teaching them how to get on the internet, how to use Zoom, how to be able to stay in contact. And it's been a wonderful intergenerational opportunity that, oddly enough, if it wasn't for COVID, we probably wouldn't be doing it to the degree that we were, even though COVID is not a good thing at all. But it gave us a unique opportunity to be able to help people so they would not feel isolated. So it's been very useful. And I'm so grateful that we have the internet, that we're able to provide the internet for free if you live in the Island View community, that we can provide that for free and technical assistance with our young people who are really teaching the seniors how to be able to become computer savvy.
I love that you're able to do that. How were you even able to become the internet provider for that area, though? It seems like you're one of the only churches I've heard of doing that.
Yeah, so we got this opportunity through Allied Media, who came to us in 2013, and they loved the work that we were doing for the community. And they had this unique opportunity and this funding to be able to provide free internet services to 3 communities in Detroit. One being Island View, where Church of the Messiah is. The other one is WNUC Radio, which is in the North End. And then the other one is Grace Church, which is in Southwest Detroit. So they chose those 3 communities and used the 3 entities to be able to train people directly out of the community, primarily young people, how to install the internet, to be able to make a dent in the fact that 40% of the people in Detroit don't have the internet. So it was a unique opportunity, and believe me, we jumped on it.
And on top of that, I think if anything came out of the pandemic, it was understanding and seeing the inequities with internet service within our communities. And when you have kids that need the internet to be able to do their homework, then maybe this is going to be the good thing that comes out of that. And speaking about the kids as well as them trying to learn during this pandemic, you have set your finger on the pulse of the community right there in your neighborhood. What are you hearing from parents? How are the kids doing right now during this?
Well, the kids are resilient. That's the part that's amazing. Anything is an adventure with them. So they're finding unique opportunities of being able to keep themselves occupied. And actually, the strange thing about it is a lot of the children are literally taking the time out to teach parents and grandparents all types of things on the computer, the internet, this, that, and the other. We found it a unique opportunity. And they're creating all types of videos, commercials, public service announcements. They're very resilient. So I think the parents and possibly some of the young adults are having a hard time finding the young people, in Island View at least, they're resilient and they're finding creative ways to be able to get through this pandemic, even if they drive the parents crazy, but they're finding creative ways.
I think a lot of parents coming out of this understand exactly how important teachers are right now. So I know education is a cornerstone of so much of what you believe in there at Church of the Messiah. In fact, that's how Pastor Barry and I actually met. Someone had found a bottle in the water and it had letters that kids had written to their dad who had passed away. They were trying to find the family and the kids to be able to return the letters. Through another pastor, he got my name. We tracked it down when I worked at Channel 7 and we were able to find that family. But on top of that, then they helped those children continue their education, because you're a huge advocate for education. And if you can just talk a little bit about what you've been doing to try to make sure kids from your neighborhood get to college, because it's amazing the feat that you all have been able to accomplish.
Wow, Ronnie, I almost forgot how we met each other, but it was that story. The other part of that story that was amazing, once you put on your investigative hat, we found out they lived 6 blocks away from Church of the Messiah.
Isn't that amazing?
And it was amazing. They were right in the neighborhood. And that bottle was found on the Detroit River by a realtor who I had a meeting with to talk about acquiring some property. And he found it floating in the water and noticed the notes in it, and then took it out of the water. And while we were sitting there having lunch, he just stopped and said, "Let me tell you about these letters I found." And I immediately called somebody else who told me, "Call Ronnie Dahl." And immediately I called you. We found that family and we adopted that family. And also too, something that came from that is we have a marching band. That's one of the other ministries that we have here. Oddly enough, it's a ministry here. And we have a marching band. Currently, it has 84 kids in it. And through the marching band that we've had over 8 years, we've gotten over 409 kids in college through the marching band, because it really is a literacy program. The marching band is a front, but it literally is a literacy program. So the directors who actually run the program are all either teachers or professors who help the kids be able to get into college. So that literally started a whole nother ministry at Messiah. So currently we got kids going to school all over the country, and it's coming through that marching band. So literacy is really, really big here. And a lot of our kids are going to school on scholarships. That's just through the band. And then we got the regular programs at Church of the Messiah, where we have the mentors to be able to help the kids get in school. It's been an amazing journey, especially over the last 8 years.
Pastor Barry here with us on the Oakland County Megacast. The one thing you do at your church is you're very real with these kids. You sometimes do a little tough love and a little tough talk with them as well to make them responsible for their own direction and their own futures as well, but you help guide them along the way. And Pastor Barry, these are tough times right now for churches and nonprofit organizations. So many are struggling because they haven't been able to have their big fundraisers. If I'm sitting, let's say I am in the suburbs, why should I care about the Church of the Messiah and the work that you're doing in the city of Detroit? How would that impact me here outside of the city limits?
Well, Detroit is the heart of Michigan. And if Detroit fails, so does every other city, county, region, part of Detroit. Detroit goes, there goes the rest of the state. So it's important to keep the heart healthy. And Detroit has been to hell and back, and has been always able to bounce back. And I think that says something about not only the people in Detroit, but to the people in the suburbs and the people in the state who really do love Detroit, in spite of all of the ills that it has to face through the decades. And I think many people who live in the suburbs and who live outstate, they actually really do love Detroit. And a lot of them are from Detroit. But Detroit has so many issues and so many challenges that sometimes just being able to keep your head above water makes it difficult in a city like Detroit. But there are people who are here who choose to be here, who choose to make sure that Detroit has what it needs. And I'm one of those people. And many of the people at Church of the Messiah are those people who have made a commitment to be able to stick it out and to be able to see the brighter days of Detroit. And Detroit is having brighter days. Things are happening. Things are moving. So this is a time where we actually have to look and say, you know what, we really do need each other in order to be able to pull this out. Detroit is not going to be able to do it alone. It's going to take all of us to be able to do it. And one thing I can honestly truly say is times like this, times like COVID, that actually uncovers all of the ills of society, brings them to light, and then we shine a light on it, and then we're kind of surprised at all of the different people who show up and say, we care and we want to be a part. So there's great people in Detroit and in the state of Michigan, and we should all be proud of that.
So I'm always an advocate for you and your church and all the good work that you do, not just through your ministry, but also all of the work that you're doing in the basement there and trying to foster hope and futures for the kids as well as the people that live in our communities. And speaking about that, some people, maybe they did lose their jobs and they're looking for a purpose. So we have so many people with a lot of talent in the Metro Detroit area. If they want to maybe volunteer, if they're not in the position to actually donate money, if they want to volunteer, how can they get involved? And can you just highlight quickly too some of the work going on in the basement of the Church of Messiah?
Yeah, so we're open to volunteers. Many hands make light work, and it takes a little bit of all of us to be able to come together to be able to do this. So that's the part that's amazing, and more people are coming, and it is the greatest thing. We have many partnerships that is city and suburbs, and now people from across the country. But we do have a lot of churches and religious organizations following the Messiah's model of not being able to just open your mouths and preach, but also to be that good news. So a scripture that we live by is the kingdom of heaven is not mere words. It's a demonstration of power. So we also have to demonstrate the power of what it is that we believe. Detroit, or the neighborhood where Church of Messiah is, there was a lack of opportunity. So the church became the place to provide those opportunities, whether that was affordable housing, whether that was a business incubator, providing internet, getting the kids to go to school or getting them in school, providing those opportunities. That's what we're good at. So in our basement, we have Nikki's Ginger Tea, which has been around for 21 years, 94 stores across the state. It's made in our commercial kitchen. The clothing line, Kill the Hate, is also made in the basement. It's being made. The clothes are manufactured and made at Church of the Messiah, and then they're sold at Nara Clothes, Detroit 313. But also, too, there is a Kill the Hate. That's the name of the clothing line the young man created. Kill the Hate. He's in the Fisher Building in the basement. It's called the Underground, and he sells the clothes there. Also, there's a candle company called Bright Creations, which is manufactured at Church of the Messiah, and it's sold in Eastern Market, the Water Station, Motor City Casino, and MGM Grand. So it's interesting that it's sold there, but the candles are made at Church of the Messiah. And then also, too, we have the video production company, and our young people run that video production company, and they do public service announcements, they do commercials, they do all kind of different things throughout the community and neighborhood. They even worked for National PBS a year or so ago. So that was absolutely a wonderful experience for them. So, and then we got other thoughts and ideas on building out other businesses. There's also a bike shop, and then there's the internet service, and all of that is in the basement of Church of the Messiah.
Speaking of bike, I have one in my basement I need to bring you guys as well. So if you have bikes sitting around your house right now, you can donate them and they will fix them up and have the kids help fix them up as well and teach them new skills. You're listening to 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake, 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. Pastor Barry, just a couple more minutes here with you on the Oakland County Megacast. Anything else that we maybe didn't touch on that you want people to know about the Church of Messiah that maybe have not been exposed to everything that you're doing there?
Yeah, also, too, a couple other things, and I don't remember these ministries a lot. They're relatively new. But one, we do have a doctor's office. It's called the Village Clinic. So you can also see a doctor here. Because of COVID, the doctors are more in the field than they are in the building. And then we also provide some legal services, too. So it's an interesting concept. You could be able to come to church to rent an apartment or a townhouse. You can come see a doctor. You can see an attorney. You can get the internet service. You can start a business. You can get a new job. You can earn a bike and earn a computer. And at the same time, we believe in salvation and church. So one-stop shop.
And do you still have the secondhand resale shop?
Yes, we still have that too. And that's run by two young people, and they're 17 and 18 years old. And they run our resale shop. Because of COVID, we haven't been open per se. But their thing is in the summertime, they were taking the stuff outside and doing the social distancing resale shop outside. So that was quite interesting. But yeah, when COVID dies down, we will open that up again.
We hope COVID leaves us sooner rather than later. Before we let you go, Pastor Barry, leave us on a positive note. What do you think has been the big benefit that has come out of COVID-19 for the Church of Messiah?
I think the biggest benefit is COVID-19 actually literally raised the issues of the things that we thought we were paying attention to already. But it was magnified through things like the importance of education, the importance of being able to have affordable health care, the ability to be able to reinvent yourself, maybe even start your own business or be able to find another job. All of these things came to the surface, the needs of senior citizens and young people, and how, for us, especially as church, how church needed to leave the building. That we were not the building, that it was the people. COVID prevented us from being able to come into the building, so we had to take the church out into the neighborhoods, into the street. And I think that was the most important thing.
Pastor Barry, thank you for being with us here on the Oakland County Megacast. I need to get down to the church to visit you and your entire team there as well, because you guys are doing amazing things. And I'm glad to see that you're still thriving, still surviving, and still making such a huge difference for so many people there in the Detroit area as well as beyond.